Today I've got another water decal review for you from Nicole Diary water decals. And as you can see, it's a nautical theme this time, so with little anchors and, you know, there's like a whole lot of ship things, and I'm not into ship things, so I don't know the names of everything. But I do think it looks very cute for summer, so I just did an ombre in the same colors as the water decals. And then obviously put the water decals on top of it, so I'll show you that in a minute. Or, you know, in a few seconds rather. Anyways, what I also should tell you is that I've put the links to Nicole Diary web shops down below in the description box. They have one on AliExpress and one on Amazon. And I've also put a code down there which you can get a free goodie with your order, if you order there. So yeah, all information on that will be down below. And for now, let's get on to the review. So here you can see the water decal from up close. It comes in plastic with some instructions on the back. But you can also see in this video how you're supposed to use them. And these are the water decals themselves from up close. Really cool nautical theme. So for this look I'm going to start out with cutting them. And before we start, one thing about the scissors. This time I'm actually using big scissors rather than the small one. Because the small ones have a curve in it and the big ones are straight. And I want straight strips, so it's easier to use a straight pair of scissors. And I'm just making 3 small strips. Do keep in mind that like the white edge of it, of course, you know, doesn't have anything on it. So keep that in mind when trying to measure how wide you want your strips to be, because that part is useless. And then I just use the first strip to measure how wide I want the other ones to be. I'm not being very, you know, neat with this because, yeah, it's gonna look cool anyways because of the detail in it, and yeah, you know, like no one's gonna measure it while it's on your nails. So then I just take off the little piece of protecting plastic and just dump them all in water. If it's really cold outside, you can also use warm water. And just leave them in there for 30 seconds. Meanwhile, on my nails I actually did an ombre look as a background because I thought it would look cool with these decals. And once they've been in water for long enough, you can just carefully shove them off the paper with either tweezers or your fingers. I prefer to use tweezers because they're obviously smaller. And then just put them onto my nail, which is significantly easier to do than to do it while keeping my finger in screen. Yep. And then I just shove them around a little until they're exactly where I want them to be. And then I dab them dry with a piece of tissue paper. And once they're dry, they're pretty much stuck on there. So that's good. And then you're left with a whole lot of water decal outside of the nails, which I just remove with acetone. Personally, I prefer to have a lot of leftovers rather than to just have just slightly too little water decal to cover whatever I want to cover with my nail. So yeah. Besides, cleanup isn't actually a difficult thing with these water decals because they do very nicely dissolve in acetone. Especially on the tip, just dip your brush in acetone and carefully put it against the water decal. Be very careful not to rub on the nail because obviously you don't want to rub off the nail polish underneath the water decal. And then once they're dry, I'm actually going to use some white nail polish and a striping brush to make sort of a border around them. I didn't have any like specific idea with this, I just, you know, really wanted a border around them. Yeah, I just think it makes them stand out a little bit more. And the nail polish I use for this, by the way, is a French tip nail polish. They just cover really well, but you could also use acrylic paint. And then once all of that has dried, it's time for top coat. I'm just using the Essence top coat I always use. Strangely enough, it did sort of seem to wipe out, as you can see, the water decal on the middle finger. But on the other 2 fingers with the water decal I had absolutely no problems. So I'm thinking that on the middle one my brush was too dry, so it dragged over the design too much. So yeah, do make sure that you have enough nail polish on your brush or enough, you know, top coat on your brush to not have the brush really rub over the water decal. Because as you can see, the other 2 are perfectly fine. And yeah, that's the final result. I really like these water decals, the quality is really nice. And I really like the design, especially for summer looks. some reason nautical designs always just really make me think of summer. And yeah, again, all the information is in the description box down below. And for now, thank you very much for watching. And see you next time. Bye! And yeah, these water decals really dissolve quickly in acetone, which is a good thing because it makes them easier to remove. But it also makes the cleanup a whole lot easier.